All right, good morning, and thank you all for being here. Cadets, I'm sure you're just glad to be anywhere other than marching through the halls or getting dressed down for not tying your shoes correctly or something. So welcome, glad to have you here. You all look great, and we're very proud of you. The Illinois State Police strives for excellence in all that we do in fulfilling our mission to relentlessly protect public safety and pursue justice. ISP continuously works to grow and improve to meet the needs of communities, and education is one avenue in which we do this. Now, I've been an instructor at this academy for nearly 6 years now, and I can tell you our cadets truly get a real education here. So I'm excited to be joined by Governor Pritzker and 4 Illinois universities to announce partnerships that will allow Illinois State Police officers to receive university credit hours while serving the public. ISP places a high value on helping its officers reach their academic goals and has worked diligently with Eastern Illinois, Governor State, Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, and Western Illinois universities to secure the opportunity for troopers who graduate from ISP to help earn a degree. As a national leader in law enforcement, all courses taught at the Illinois State Police Academy use the highest standards. ISP prepares officers for the complex role of law enforcement through classroom sessions and participation in practical exercises covering a range of topics. The curriculum taught at the Academy covers many of the same subjects required for a degree in criminal justice, including criminal law and criminal procedure, human trafficking, juvenile justice, constitutional law, and more. Ongoing education helps people further their critical thinking and communication skills, as well as generate new ideas and perspectives, which ISP is always looking for. This opportunity for our officers will help make ISP stronger as we continue to evolve with the changing law enforcement landscape and our interaction with communities. But not only are ISP officers able to further their own academic achievements, they can share their experience with students in the classroom who likely have had very different experiences as they attend additional classes in pursuit of their degree. So this is a unique mutual learning experience for all students. With ISP's commitment to integrity, service, and pride, these partnerships are sure to build a stronger criminal justice system for everyone. Now I'd like to turn it over to Governor Pritzker, who has been a consistent believer in and advocate for the Illinois State Police, increasing ISP's resources to allow us to recruit more officers, to explore and add new technologies, and to give us the tools we need to combat violent crime, pursue justice, and protect public safety. So with that, Governor, welcome back to the Academy.
Thank you very much, Director. Thank you very much, Director. Welcome to everybody and good morning. It is truly always an honor to be among our state's finest and bravest public servants. Illinois State Police boldly stand in harm's way to keep our communities and our people safe every single day. And today I'm very proud to stand with them as we launch a new initiative to support our state troopers. Through a new partnership with 4 of our universities, Illinois State Police cadets will now be awarded credit hours toward a bachelor's degree for successful completion of their training program. We couldn't do this without the terrific partners that have been mentioned already who came together to make this program possible. I want to recognize some of the leadership that's with us today, including the university presidents, President Jake Cottrell of Eastern Illinois, Chancellor James Minor of Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, Dr. Beverly Schneider, the Vice President and Provost of Governor's State, and President of Western Illinois, Dr. Christy Mindrup. And in just a few moments, you're going to hear from one of our outstanding cadets, Danielle Pondell. The hard work and collaboration of this group led to the creation of one of the most comprehensive programs of its type in the entire nation, offering graduates more credit hours toward a degree than any other state. We ask a lot of our law enforcement. I think we all know that. Keeping the peace, helping neighbors in a bind, patrolling for the safety of our highways and our communities. This program is a recognition of all that it takes to be a law enforcement officer. Now, this program is above all an opportunity for Illinois State Police to develop their skills and advance their careers. Whether they're out on patrol or in the field investigating, This provides an opportunity to gain an advantage and prepare them for all the challenges that they'll face in the future. In turn, they'll be better equipped to serve the people of Illinois. Investing in our law enforcement officers is not only the right thing to do, it's one of the most important things that we can do for public safety. We ought to be giving our police everything they need to carry out their work, and educational advancement is one vital element of that. Illinois already has the best state troopers in the entire nation. I can vouch for that. I get to travel around. I see a lot of the other governors, their details, state patrols, state police who take care of them. I can tell you, I think ours not only look, sound, and act like real professionals, but honestly, I often tell the other governors, take a look at ours. You should copy what our folks are doing. I'll never pass up the opportunity to brag about Illinois' finest. In just the last month, ISP has announced significant drops in a number of major crime categories. After a push to combat illegal gun trafficking, new data shows the number of guns stolen from licensed dealers dropped almost 80% in the last year. And for the third year in a row, ISP reported a drop in the number of shootings on our interstate highways, a nearly 31% reduction in 2024, and a 71% reduction over the last 3 years. Think about that, a 71% reduction. That takes a lot of coordination, a lot of hard work, and I want to thank the leadership of ISP and the troopers themselves who are doing this work on the ground. This is a testament to the incredible hard work of the Illinois State Police and a reminder of how important it is that we continue to give them the proper resources and the proper training. With this program, we'll reward those who take the sacred oath to serve and protect, to build a stronger police force and give back to the bravest who have already given so much. So thank you all for joining us today. And with that, I get to hand this podium over to an important partner in this endeavor, Eastern Illinois University President Jay Cottrell.
Thank you, Governor. It's a pleasure to be here, and truly a privilege to be part of it, supporting and advancing the mission of the ISP. Eastern's new partnership provides officers and cadets not only with academic credit towards earning an undergraduate degree, but also expanded scholarship support, and a flexible online delivery program. We're grateful to be part of this partnership. We're thankful for the service and leadership of the ISP, and I want to thank the director for hosting us here today, and we look forward to seeing many Panthers amongst your ranks. Thank you. And now I introduce the president of Western Illinois University, Dr. Christy Mindrup.
Good morning, and thank you, Governor Pritzker and Director Kelly and my fellow higher education leaders for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dr. Christy Mindrup, and I'm the president of Western Illinois University. For decades, our law enforcement agencies have worked together to educate generations of public safety professionals. The agreement between Illinois State Police and Western represents an agreement between two Illinois institutions bettering the lives of our citizens. Granting this credit is consistent with our vision to make Western Illinois University the leader in educational quality, of opportunity, and affordability. We recognize that learning is not contained to the classroom, but also comes from real-world experiences. WIU is a nationally recognized leader in the delivery of public safety educational programs. As such, Western is well positioned to enhance the educational levels of the Bachelor Science degree. WIU will grant interested Illinois State Police officers the ability to receive academic credit through the Law Enforcement and Justice Administration program. This credit is not only available for their professional field experience as ISP officers, but also for their attendance at the Police Academy. At Western Illinois University, we are particularly proud of our practitioner-based model for law enforcement and justice administration. We strongly believe that this model is a key to our success and national standing as a major reason why we have many alumni working for the Illinois State Police and other law enforcement agencies throughout the state of Illinois and our nation. I'm happy to join our fellow institutions of higher education here today as we provide yet another pathway to quality and affordable education. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm James Minor. I have the pleasure of serving as the Chancellor at SIUE. I'm certainly excited this morning that SIUE has an opportunity to once again partner with the Illinois State Police and build upon what is already for SIUE a thriving relationship. Since 2021, SIUE undergraduates have collaborated with ISP in Zone 6 to help solve cold homicide cases. Led by criminal justice professor Trish Oberweis, teams of SIUE students as a part of their coursework are helping with cold case backlog by reviewing cases and creating quick access to investigation histories to teams of detectives and command staff. To date, SIUE students have reviewed nearly 150 homicide cases, and they have helped to identify 3 Jane Does, helping to bring justice to deserving families. I'm also compelled to tell you that in 2022, SIUE and ISP worked together to develop a plan for a new master's degree program in forensic science to do 2 things. 1, to respond to the current shortage of forensic science professionals, and 2, to help meet the expected growth in this job market, 13.6% over the next decade, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This master's degree program is currently being delivered at the Southwestern Illinois Justice and Workforce Development Campus in Belleville, Illinois, and it is the only forensic science program in Southern Illinois and the only master's level program outside of Chicago. But that's not why we're here. What brings us here today is the exciting pathway program that you heard the governor speak about. The program represents, as I stated, a continuation of our partnership with ISP by providing degree pathways for smart and deserving cadets, giving them an opportunity to advance their careers. These students will have the opportunity to complete their degree online or in person while receiving credit for military service, prior coursework, and of course, cadet academy training. I want to say thank you also to the Illinois Board of Higher Education for their foundational work in creating these pathways. I want to thank members of the SIUE team who are here today who made this partnership possible. And I also want to thank the Illinois State Police for their leadership and vision to ask for this kind of partnership with Illinois public universities. I want to conclude my remarks by offering just one example of how this program is already working for students. Jacob Harris, an SIUE student who is from Springfield, is currently majoring in criminal justice studies with a minor in political science. Jacob had been working on his degree at SIUE when he was accepted to the Illinois Police Academy. In the summer and fall of 2023, he took time away from SIUE to attend the academy and to become a state trooper. He then returned to SIUE in the spring of 24 and received credit for the cadet academy training he received. Because of this pathway opportunity, Jacob will be graduating this May from SIUE on time because of this program. Jacob's story is just one example of how Illinois public institutions are responding to the needs of our partners across the state and responding to students by meeting them where they are and helping them find new and creative ways to get across the commencement stage. Thank you very much. I now want to bring to the podium my colleague, Dr. Beverly Schneller, Vice President and Provost at Governor State University.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I am Beverly Schneller, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Governor State University. Like my colleagues, I'm very pleased to be here today with our delegation from Governor State to join in the celebration of the expansion of these educational opportunities for our Illinois State Police. At Governor State, we are delighted that we've developed a bachelor's curriculum that has the highest number of undergraduate credits that can be transferred into it, because we built our program from the ground up by comparing the curricula of the State Police Academy and other training venues to match to our degree program. And we also have a master's curriculum that will allow people who have completed their bachelor's to pursue graduate studies. Our online programs support our valued state police communities. Through this effort, we are eager to see our state troopers and officers engage in multiple academic programs, including those not traditionally considered but needed to better address their roles today. We are offering, in addition to select degree options in criminal justice and public administration, other pathways for relevant programs in counseling, psychology, and addiction studies, just to name a few. As our troopers join our university, we are excited to increase the numbers of those who will earn college degrees and help move the needle on undergraduate degree completers beyond the national average of 30%, and increase the number of troopers with graduate degrees beyond a very small 5%. So we encourage you to join us today in celebrating the accomplishments of all of our universities. And to the troopers who are considering completing their degrees, please stop by all the tables, compare, see what's out there, and we hope that you will find something that is an option for you. In the green room this morning, while we were waiting, we had the opportunity to meet the colleague I'm about to introduce, Cadet Danielle Pondell. She is a wonderful person who is going to be able to benefit from the opportunities that our universities offer, and her remarks are going to focus on what this means to her. And so we welcome her to the podium now as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Cadet Danielle Pondell. I joined the Illinois State Police to further my passion for service. At the age of 18, I joined the United States Army Reserves as a military police officer. From there, I worked with special needs students at a high school in Grays Lake. Currently, I am a cadet in training at the Illinois State Police Academy. Although it has been just a few weeks since attending the Illinois State Police Academy, I have come to the realization that the department needs a variety of differing educational backgrounds. From law to medical and everywhere in between, there is not a degree that would not have a place here at the Illinois State Police. The program would aid me greatly financially, as well as to help me fulfill my dream of working in the Division of Investigation at the Illinois State Police. I was excited to discover that the Illinois State Police offers educational benefits. One key aspect of the program is it offers a flexible schedule that is conducive to a work-life balance. I'm eager to take advantage of this opportunity and to earn college credits while working for the Illinois State Police. Thank you. I will now turn the podium back to Director Kelly.
All right. Well, thank you, Cadet Pondell. Just outstanding. You know, she's only been here at the Academy for 3 weeks, and now here she is standing with the director and the governor giving a press conference. So I know she's wants to be a future special agent in the Division of Criminal Investigation, so I'm sure they'll be actively recruiting her, as well as to every other division of the Illinois State Police. So great job, Cadet. It is obviously important that we have people from all walks of life, from all communities in this law enforcement agency, and that includes education with all the different degrees and area of study. ISP strongly encourages continued education, and we're excited to work with these great Illinois universities to make it easier and more affordable for ISP officers to continue their education. So we are going to dismiss the cadets so they can get back to the classroom, and after that, Governor Pritzker and I will be available to take questions. So, Trooper White, dismiss the cadets.
Ready to go? Yeah. Jeremy. Yes.
Number one, you talked about it, all the services affected in Illinois are online, including Medicare, et cetera, Medicaid, et cetera. And secondly, you talked about your discussion yesterday, last night with Chuck Schumer and various governors.
Sure. It appears that all of the systems that have been cut off as a result of the memo freezing funding, that those systems are back online. Again, have not heard from any agencies that are having trouble, but we are monitoring it closely because, as you know, many of the small nonprofit agencies directly connect, and so we sometimes hear through them rather than through our own agencies. As to the call that we had last night with Leader Schumer in the U.S. Senate, it was a productive call. We had a lively conversation about the challenges that people in our states are going through as a result of the threat of the freezes that appear to be the aim of the Trump administration. And Leader Schumer was receptive to the things that we had to say, understood, he's from New York. They also had the same things happen to them in New York, and he heard directly from people that are his constituents. So it was a good conversation, I think productive. Yeah, I haven't heard of a failure to communicate between the two, after that day when, there was so much of a challenge, and we had some of our people rejected from having conversations with their counterparts at the federal level. So I haven't checked in to see if those conversations have reopened, but my sense is, I haven't heard anything new, that things have calmed down quite a lot. Having said that, there is no indication, and you heard this from the White House press secretary, there's no indication that the Trump administration has any intention of pulling back on the idea of a freeze or even an elimination of major federal programs that benefit people in the state of Illinois: Meals on Wheels, Head Start, Medicaid, things that really matter to people every day. Not to mention grant programs that for state police, for local police. Those are all things that are at risk as a result of the threat that was made, and it's clearly their intention to carry it out. It's just that they got so much negative feedback all in one day from all across the country, including from Republican elected officials, Democratic elected officials, and just nonprofits across the country. So I think they're rethinking how they can still accomplish the goal without getting all of that negative feedback.
Governor, to that end, you have your budget address coming up in
Yeah.
a few weeks. Can you just kind of walk me through your thought process approaching that with so much uncertainty, not just this month, but long-term about federal funding?
Yeah. Well, let me begin by saying that the federal government provides a very large portion of the overall budget and spending that occurs in the state of Illinois and in every state. So we're talking about, maybe less than half, but still quite a lot, maybe 30 to 40% of all the funding. So when I talked about Head Start and Meals on Wheels, for example, we provide state funding for those, but we also get matching grants from the federal government. Medicaid is a great example of something that if they decide to cut off Medicaid, that's 50% of the cost of each person that's covered. And the result will be we can't cover the other 50%. We just can't. The numbers are too astronomical. We have partnerships that have been in existence for half a century or more on some of these major important programs that are necessary for middle-class families, working-class families, the most vulnerable in our state. So, it's hard to plan for devastation, which is what it would be. We're doing our best to put together a budget that is balanced. We're doing our best to think about the contingencies that we might have to have as eventualities because of what we think might be coming from the Trump administration. But every day we're going to have to communicate, and all the nonprofits and all the people in our states, and by the way, Republican mayors, Republican local elected officials that we talked to over the last 48 hours, deeply concerned about what the threat is to their local communities. And so I think that, again, if we keep the pressure on and we keep communicating, that hopefully they will be deterred from the worst parts of what they're intending. Are we for efficiencies? Of course we are. We all want to find efficiencies in government, and if they can find some and help us effectuate them, that's great. But cutting programs massively to basically give a massive tax break to the wealthiest people in the country does not seem like something the American people will tolerate. Yeah, Cole.
Phone call from last night. Is part of the concern that congressional Democrats just aren't putting up enough of a fight? Are they buying into the idea we heard from President Trump in the aftermath of the election that his administration and the Republican Party were given a mandate by the American people?
No. No. Again, we're having good conversations. I spoke with a number of members of our Illinois delegation in Washington, D.C., and they are raising these issues in Washington. Our challenge, of course, at the state level is that each individual governor and leaders at the state level don't get as much attention from national media as the folks who serve in national government. And so we want to make sure that they're persistent about that communication. So that's what all the conversation has been about.
Governor, lawmakers and advocates yesterday said that this is the year that Illinois needs to create a prescription drug affordability board, specifically following Trump taking office and getting rid of previous sets that allowed for lower drug costs. Do you think it should happen this year? And I know it's going to be a big fight. The industry is going to fight against it, but do you think it should happen?
Well, you're talking specifically about a board that could be created, but I want to just broadly draw you to the subject of lowering the cost of prescription drugs. We're all dedicated to that, whether it comes in the form of a board that might, pass on the pricing of drugs, or in the form of PBM reform, right? Pharmaceutical benefit managers and the profits that they're taking, which ultimately are taken out of the pockets of all of us who may have prescription drugs, right, and buy them on a regular basis. So we're looking at all of that. I think healthcare is a vitally important issue for us to focus on here in Illinois and nationally, and I think it's been too often ignored, and that's why last year, as you know, we passed a major Healthcare Protection Act in the state of Illinois, just the beginning of what I think is going to be a series of things that will accomplish, again, to bring down prices both of insurance and pharmaceuticals for people across the state. John.
Federal funding aside, I suspect they did get a $3 billion gift card for your birthday. What are you telling your agencies in terms of putting together a budget in time with respect to general revenue is coming short?
With respect to the federal funding being cut off, what are we talking?
The budgets with the records that you state agencies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've been, as you know, we begin to put the budget together for the following year shortly after the initiation of the budget for the current year. So back in July, we started communicating about budgeting for the agencies. And of course, as you develop more information about what you think the future will look like, you try to build that into your budget. And so, for example, our revenue estimates matter on the subject. And then very importantly, when we know that there's going to be a gap, we want the agencies to pay attention to, okay, what programs can we maybe freeze for the current year, or maybe there are things that aren't working as well as we'd like them to and we need to roll them back. So those are the communications that are happening. They've been happening for months, and we're trying to hone in on, for each agency, you often have, look, we hire good people to run these agencies who want big things to happen for the people that they serve. And so they're ambitious, as am I, and I want them to be, but in a budget year when we have to be careful, we want them to be extremely prudent about what it is they include for the following year in terms of advancement of the costs and expenditures. So I know that's, you want to hear about some specific things, but I can just tell you across the board, every one of our agencies is trying to, make sure they're focused on the most important things, whether it's public safety, healthcare, education, and we're going to try to provide them with all the resources that we can, especially in the most vital areas. Yeah.
Can you give any kind of teaser as far as what can we expect in the next few months? Like by way of revenue actions, so there are going to be tax increases. Can you say anything about budget cuts? Anything of that sort that we can expect? Or is it still
It's very important that we live within our means in this state and that we not resort to tax increases as a way to, to balance the budget, right? And so that's what the communication we've had with our agencies and looking at all the priorities that we need to take care of. I do want you all to understand, though, that this is something I think people don't get to see the way that I do as governor, that there are what I'll describe as hidden infrastructure deficits. I don't mean infrastructure like roads and bridges. Every year, and if you don't put enough money in, what happens year after year after year is they deteriorate to a point where you end up owing essentially hundreds of millions of dollars just to bring something up to code or bringing it up to livability standards. I think universities that are here understand that probably as much as anybody. You've got a lot of buildings and a lot of people to serve in those buildings, and that's just an example of buildings. But when you fail to invest over many years, it builds up, and then all of a sudden you've got a crisis. And so we're trying to get ourselves out of those crises and take care of those underlying deficits that often don't get paid attention to. And you saw that, we're looking at closing and intending to close a couple of corrections facilities and replace them. But they wouldn't have had to be replaced if investments had been made over the years. But we're now going to have to make that, bite that bullet, so to speak, and make sure that we're building, better facilities, and then we have to maintain them. So those are the kinds of things that we're focused on, that underlie all the things that you see at the top level. And it's challenging every year because of the failures of decades in Illinois, where essentially, well, we don't need to invest in this. We'll just put that money into this program over here that we like today. So we're being very careful. You're going to see a balanced budget. I don't introduce budgets that aren't balanced. And I expect that, the only time that anybody should ever look at revenue is as a last resort, when you really can't do what you need to do and live within your means. Yeah, I hope we can get away from, we get the language, some agreement about the language around pensions. The Tier 2 pension fix is a safe harbor that exists within the federal pension law that allows us not to pay Social Security, but to make sure that we do pay pensions that at least meet the Social Security safe harbor minimum. And that, to me, is the fix that's required. There are lots of folks who want other things in additions to the Tier 2 system, which are being discussed for a variety of reasons, whether it's because they believe that it will help us attract more people into the various professions that we're trying to attract them into within state government, or law enforcement, or firefighters, or teachers, et cetera, or for some other reason. But anyway, those are kind of those are two categories of things. They're really not the same topic, if you ask me. So one is a requirement. If we don't fix our system to meet that Social Security minimum, it will cost taxpayers in Illinois far more than it should, because we could end up getting sued and penalized and having to put back Social Security level funding into the pension system. That's not a good idea. We're not going to do. I mean, I'm telling you, we need the legislature to focus on getting that done. Number one. As to all of the other requests, and that's the $30 billion estimate that was made, that's included in, together. Those are things that, one thing I will not do is sign a pension reform that is credit negative for the state of Illinois. We have worked so hard over the last 6 years to get 9 credit upgrades, and I believe we have others that are coming to us because of being prudent. And if we balance the budget again this year, I believe people will finally see that Illinois can govern itself. I heard that when I went to New York my first year in office, in fact, my first month in office. I met with the credit rating agencies, I met with the bond investors, and I heard this thing I never heard anybody, it's like the most insulting thing you could get as a state, which is, we don't think Illinois knows how to govern itself. And can you imagine? And so, and I said, wait, well, I just took over. So could we, could you give us the benefit of the doubt? And the answer was essentially, no, we've seen you, mishandle budgets in Illinois, not me, but, previous administrations. And so we need to see some consistency. We need you to balance the budget. We need you to make progress, et cetera. And I said, we're going to do that. And I told them how we do it. And guess what? We've done it. And that's why we're getting credit upgrades. And we want to stay on that path. So that, to me, is the most important thing. We can't have, whatever it is that we do on the pension system has to be within the context of making sure that we're improving our credit. And if you think credit ratings don't matter, let me tell you, hundreds of millions of dollars get spent in interest payments if we don't get that right. And if we do get it right, savings of hundreds of millions of dollars, either in the potential for tax cuts or spending on the things that we really need to invest in the state.
I'm sure you woke up
Mike.
this morning like so many other Americans, seeing the horrific news out of D.C.
Yes.
with the plane crash. Obviously, we're still learning info, and this investigation will take some time. But tell us your initial thoughts on the tragedy that happened there overnight.
Look, I just want to express my condolences to the families, to the friends of people that were lost. We have not only military personnel, but also I know there were 64 people on the regional jet that went down, and an ice skating team from Kansas, and that it hits me in my heart when I think about the families who got calls last night and this morning about a tragedy that just shouldn't have happened. But there's going to be investigations, and it was an accident, but it's a terrible accident, and I wish that it wouldn't happen to anybody ever again. Yeah, thank you.